A mother turkey is fiercely protective of her young, but her maternal instinct relies almost entirely on a single cue, the cheep-cheep sound made by her chicks. If you introduce a natural enemy, like a stuffed polecat on a string, she will brutally attack it. But animal behaviorists discovered a loophole. When they placed a small recorder inside the stuffed polecat that played the cheep-cheep sound of baby turkeys, the mother not only stopped her attack, she gathered the enemy underneath her. The moment they turned the machine off, she viciously attacked it again. Biologists call this a fixed action pattern. It is a pre-programmed mechanical tape in the brain. The brain doesn't evaluate the whole situation. It reacts entirely to a single trigger feature, in this case, an audio cue, bypassing all other senses. We assume we are more complex than a turkey, but humans operate using the exact same kind of pre-programmed mental tapes. We have our own trigger features designed to help us make maggot decisions. This is a rank Xerox 4000. In a famous 1970s study, a researcher asked to cut a line waiting to use this exact machine. When she gave a real reason for cutting, 94% agreed. When she asked to cut with no reason at all, compliance dropped to 60%. But when she used the word because, followed by a meaningless statement, because I have to make copies, 93% agreed. The word because was the trigger feature. We exist in an extraordinarily complex stimulus environment. We lack the time and energy to process every detail, so we rely on these automatic shortcuts. That necessity leaves us exposed to anyone who knows exactly how to press play on our mental tapes. The first trigger is reciprocity. Human societies thrive because we developed a system of mutual repayment. When someone does us a favor, we are conditioned to repay it in kind. It is a survival advantage encoded into our culture. Manipulators exploit this by offering an uninvited, trivial favor, like buying you a cheap soda or handing you a free address label. This triggers a crushing, uncomfortable feeling of indebtedness. To relieve that psychological burden, people will routinely agree to a return favor that costs substantially more than the original gift. The second trigger is commitment and consistency. Society values people whose beliefs and actions align, viewing personal consistency as a marker of rationality and intellectual strength. Look at this crowd at a racetrack. Researchers observing bettors found that 30 seconds before placing a bet, people are hesitant and unsure. 30 seconds after putting down their money, they become highly optimistic. The physical act of committing to a choice instantly forces the brain to align its feelings to justify the decision. These are American prisoners of war. During the Korean War, Chinese interrogators coaxed them into writing mild anti-American statements. Because the statements were written down and shown to others, the soldiers felt a powerful internal pressure to rewrite their self-image to align with the public stand they had just taken. Both reciprocation and consistency bypass our rational evaluation of a deal. They force us to comply, not because the terms are good, but because we are biologically driven to protect our identity as fair, rational people. The third trigger is social proof. When a situation is highly ambiguous or uncertain, our brains default to looking at what everyone else is doing.
Copying the behavior of the herd is a reliable way to avoid making fatal mistakes. This is a 1950s television studio. Exploiters openly counterfeit social evidence in places like this by using canned laugh tracks. Studies show they make audiences laugh longer and rate jokes as funnier. We know the laughter is completely manufactured, but the social proof trigger bypasses our independent judgment anyway. The fourth trigger is liking. From an evolutionary standpoint, trusting friends and familiar faces over strangers is a safe, efficient shortcut. Compliance professionals artificially engineer this friendship trigger in a matter of minutes. They use targeted flattery, establish rapid common ground, or strategically pair themselves with positive things, like providing food and coffee before launching into a sales pitch. These two triggers shift your brain's focus entirely away from the actual product or request. Your decision becomes based on the illusion of safety in numbers, or a manufactured personal affinity for the person making the pitch. The fifth trigger is authority. Human civilization requires a widely accepted system of authority to function. We are trained from birth that obedience to legitimate hierarchical structures is the correct and safe way to operate. This is the actor Robert Young. Viewers regularly bought medical products he pitched simply because he played a doctor on television. The fatal flaw in our authority tape is that our brains are trained to defer blindly to the mere symbols of authority. a title, a luxury car, or a tailored suit, even when the substance is entirely fabricated. The sixth trigger is scarcity. As an evolutionary shortcut, we assume that things which are difficult to acquire are of higher quality than things that are easy to get. When exploiters manufacture limitations, like limited time-only sales or censored information, the perceived loss of freedom creates a visceral, physical agitation. As we watch an opportunity become less available, our focus narrows and the cognitive, rational side of our brain actively shuts down. These 6 principles function as biological input codes, hijacking the very systems designed to keep us alive. When you realize how thoroughly your behavior can be manipulated, your immediate instinct might be to turn off your mental autopilot. You want to stop and analyze every variable of every daily choice to avoid being scammed. This diagram shows exactly why eliminating those shortcuts is a mistake. Your brain, sitting at the center, would be rapidly overwhelmed by an exponentially growing web of data points. If you evaluated the pure logic of every single decision, you would suffer total cognitive paralysis. We need our autopilot. The most effective defense is to allow these forces to play out, using that momentum to alert our defenses, rather than trying to suppress our natural psychological reactions. You do this by listening for the physical alarms your body sends. Notice the tight knot in your stomach when you are trapped by a forced concession. Recognize the sudden rushing panic of competitive scarcity. Pay attention when you feel an unwarranted fondness for a salesperson you met 20 minutes ago. Use those physical sensations as your cue. The moment you feel them, you know a trigger has been pulled. That is your signal to temporarily seize manual control, isolate the raw facts of the deal from the social pressures, and reset your autopilot.